Welcome to lesson 12.3. This is writing equations from tables. From 12.2, you should have learned whenever you get a table, you should automatically label it XY. X is always over top of Y. X is your independent and Y is your dependent. And so I always label those ID over here, XY, ID, always, because then you can answer any questions and keep yourself straight. It does get a little bit confusing. Here we're going to be learning to write equations from tables. The table shows how much Amanda earns for walking 1, 2, or 3 dogs. Finish and use the table to determine how much Amanda earns. So here's your table, dogs walked, and this is your independent variable, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, and 20. Again, that's your independent. Your earnings, that's the money that you make. That's your Y dependent variable. $8, $16. If she walks 3 dogs, that's 3 times 8, so it's $24. If she walks 4 dogs, that's 4 times 8, $32. 5 dogs, 5 times 8 is $40. 6 dogs, 6 times 8 is $48. If she walks 10 dogs, 10 times 8 is going to be $80. 20 dogs, I can't imagine her walking 20 dogs at one time. That would be a tangled mess. 20 dogs at $8 is going to be $160. So you can clearly see that the earnings, the money she makes, is completely dependent upon how many dogs she walks. So based on the pattern, how much per dog, we figured out that it was $8 because that's where our unit rate is, unit of 1. So if she does 1 dog, it's $8. So now we're going to write an equation that relates the number of dogs Amanda walks to her earnings. And we're going to let E represent the earnings and D represent the dogs. So her earnings, which is E right here, is based upon equal 8D for 8 dogs. Hold on a second. Hey there, I'm so sorry to bother you. Oh, that's absolutely fine. I got an answer from the guidance counselor. Everything's fine. Can I call you back in just a little bit? Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, so we write the equation E equals 8D. And the $8 means dollars, and the D means dog, and E means earnings, the money you're going to make. So we're going to use the equation to find the missing numbers in the table. Of course, we already have those because I already wrote them in red. But what you do is you write that equation every single time, and then you plug in those numbers. So for the 5, that's why 5 is plugged in here. 8 times 5 gives me the 40. And for the D over here, it would be 6. 6 is going to be plugged in for that D. So 6 times 8 is 48. And then D here is going to be plugged in with a 10 from the table because that was a missing piece of the table. I think this is in your book, page 345 is what it is. It is page 345. So I plug in 10. 10 times 8 gives me the 80. And then when I plug in 20, 20 times 8 gives me the 160. So that is how I found those particular values, was because I wrote this equation based on what they told me to use, E for earnings and D for dogs. And we knew that for each dog, it was $8. So my independent variable, again, I can go up here and look and I can say, oh, my independent variable is dogs walked. And my earnings depends on how many dogs I walked. So that's the label right here is the Y. So that's independent. Okay. Then you're going to go to page 346 in your Go Math book, and you're going to complete number 2 through 5. Number 2 through 5. Okay. Once you complete those, then I'm going to give you 3 pieces of paper. Okay. Well, actually, you're going to collect them. Probably they'll be sitting up front. You're going to have lesson 12.3, writing equations from tables, and you're going to have practice D, as in dog. And what you're going to do is you're going to look at the table and you're going to find out what kind of equation you can write from that. Now, let me tell you a hint. Your equations will always be Y equals. Let me zoom that in because you really need to know this. Your equation will always be Y equals on the left. Always, always, always. So I know for a fact that I can write y equals for this one here. Before I even look at the table or anything else, your equations will always start out y equals. Now, something is going to happen to your x. You're either going to add to your x, you're going to subtract from your x, or you're going to divide into your x, or you're going to multiply your x, okay? So those are the 4 operations. So for like number 2, let's see what's happening. Okay, my y produces as a 1. Think about input output that you do on Dreambox. If it goes in a 5 and it comes out a 1, it could be a -4, or it could be a divided by 5. So let's see what happens, because minus is decreasing and division is decreasing, and 5 going to 1 is definitely decreasing. So those are my 2 operations I need to think of. So let's do a -4 and a divide by 5, and let's see what happens. 10 minus 4 would be 6. Okay, so it's not a -4, but 10 divided by 5 gives me a 2. So it looks like my x is going to be divided by 2. Okay. Number 3, let's see what's happening. I'm increasing from 3 to a 9, 4 to a 12, 5 to a 15, 6 to an 18. If I'm increasing, I'm either adding or I am multiplying. Let's see what happens. 6 to a 3, I would either be adding, I'm sorry, a 3 to a 9, I would be either adding 6 or I'd be multiplying by 3. Let's see what happens. 4 plus 6 would give me 10. Okay, so it's not that one. It's got to be this one right here. 4 times 3 definitely gives me the 12. So y equals, and then my x is going to be multiplied by 3. So you know what? When we do multiplication, I can't list that like that. It's got to be 3x. Remember, your coefficient always go before there. So when it's multiplying, you have to put your coefficient first. Okay, let's look at the next one. 7 to 5, decrease. 8 to 6, decrease. 9 to 7, decrease. Okay, if I'm decreasing, it's going to be subtraction or division. And 7 to 5 would be oh, they can't divide anything by 7 to get 5. So I already know it's like -2. I know my equation starts with y equals x minus 2. So it goes in as an x and comes out 2 less. So it's x minus 2. This is the equation that represents that table. If it goes in a 10 and -2 to that 10, it comes out an 8. So I know that that works. So really the only one you have to do on this page is number 6 on your own. And then you have to answer the question in teachermade.com. So the AB practice, you will get the AB practice. It's the same exact thing. You are writing the equation based on the table, and down at the bottom, yes, you will answer those questions. They're not that hard. You have to figure out the table, you have to figure out what the equation is, and then you have to answer the question. Here's input output. Input output is also in teachermade.com, and you're going to have a little box underneath here that says rule. Okay. First of all, you got to figure out what's going on. It goes in and it comes out. So if it goes in a 36 and comes out a 37, we are adding 1 because we have increased. It goes in a 69 to a 70, we're adding 1. So it stands to reason if I have the rule for 2 of those, then if it goes in a 55, I am adding 1 and it ends up being a 56. So 56 would go in your table and your rule would be +1. And so that's how you do all of those. Okay, there's directions in TeacherMade for that as well. Okay, thank you for watching 12.3.